This is Kim.
And this is Cal.
And you're listening to Shiny Things. We took a little vacation, so forgive me if I'm a little off.
We needed a break, folks. It's been a rough year for us.
It really has, but we need to concentrate.
We're concentrating. We really appreciate your support. We did see the sad faces when we posted our vacation. So we're going to try to make it up. Az is actually going to do a special little bonus.
Nice.
So
stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So we're going to have that little ditty to put up.
And today, Callie, have you ever heard of the Turpin 13?
It sounds familiar, but I don't think I remember the whole story. Probably saw it like years ago, but...
So it's a family that actually... How about I tell you a little about it?
Let's do that.
Okay. So where they were locked behind closed doors, isolated from everyone, suffering severe cruelty and neglect. The house was a cookie cutter of other houses in the neighborhood. However, from the outside, it was an ordinary looking house, but the interior was a whole different story. Within the walls, one of America's worst cases of abuse took place.
Ooh.
13 innocent children were chained up, starved, and tortured, suffering horrific mistreatment until January 14th, 2018, when life for the children of the Turpin family would change forever because of that fateful 911 call.
I've never been out. I don't go out much. And how many of your siblings are tied up? 2 of my sisters, 1 of my brothers. How are they tied up, with rope or with what? With chains. They're chained up to their bed. Sometimes we live in jail, and sometimes I wake up and I can't breathe because how dirty the house is. When was the last time you had a bath? I don't know, almost a year ago.
Aww.
Sad, huh? Now, and I'm thinking...
And little kids hate baths, so for like the fact that
yeah,
he
but
remembers
still.
when his last bath was.
And here's the thing, the 13 innocent children weren't all children. I believe it was 3 or 4 of them were actually adult. Like up to 29 years old.
So were they all their biological children?
Yes.
And they just wouldn't let them fly the nest, so to speak.
Correct. The children were planning their escape from their parents for more than 2 years. And on Sunday, January 14, 2018, the plan was put into motion when 2 of the Turpin girls, ages 13 and 17, escaped through a window. Too scared to continue, the younger of the 2 turned back, but the oldest kept running. Running for her life and running for the life of her siblings. When she reached a safe distance away from the House of Horrors, she made that fateful 911 call to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department on a cell phone she had taken from her parents without their knowledge, reporting that she and her 12 siblings were being held captive, abused, and tortured, and starved by the very people that they should have trusted the most, their parents, David and Louise Turpin.
What scumbags.
Yeah.
So 13 kids, and at least one. It's almost like that Leah Remini show where they're trying to get out of Scientology.
Yep. Oh, yes, I love that show.
I love her.
When the police got to her, she showed them photos as well of the living conditions, and the house was raided. David and Louise Turpin were arrested. And here's what really is so ironic. The sheriff's department said Louise was so perplexed as to why they were at the residence. Like, she had no idea. Like, she was acting like a freaking idiot. Like, pretending like she didn't do a thing wrong.
Did these...
Like everything she was doing was perfectly normal. They found inside the house, it was beyond comprehension. According to the officers, one of the children was shackled to the bed when they arrived, while the others appeared to have been shackled but removed from their shackles prior to the officers' arrival. They went on to say that the children were so malnourished they looked as if they had been starved to the point of skin and bones. So from what I've read, Kelly, they said that the children basically lived off of bologna sandwiches and peanut butter sandwiches while the parents ordered out takeout.
Oh my God. And even then, I mean, one sandwich, like, because you said that some of them were older, you know, one peanut butter and jelly sandwich for Az isn't enough for, you know...
That's a snack.
Right, that's not enough for, a teenage boy who's growing.
Yep. And some of the stuff that I've read and had to report on, it's like, what the hell is the matter with people that they think that this is okay?
And then why would... Okay, so here's the first question. Like, why would you breed that much if... First...
Well, we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
So the older children appeared much younger because of the malnourishment. There was actually a 29-year-old that weighed 82 pounds. That's like anorexic.
That's Az's size.
Yeah. Now this is a 29-year-old, so you know they're not like 4 foot tall.
They're probably at least
5 foot
my height or a little taller.
So they must have looked like a walking skeleton.
Like one of the concentration camps.
Yep.
Ugh.
None of the children had gone to a doctor in more than 4 years. Let's stop right there for a second. So in 4 years, they went to a doctor. Now, a doctor didn't see that there was a problem here. That concerns me.
Well, yeah, and it's like, what kind of doctor? Were they going to school? Were they home?
I'm going to get to that too.
Well, because that's the thing. So there have been cases recently where people, like, with certain religious beliefs or something like that, they won't bring their kids to the doctor, and the child will die of an infection. And sometimes, it's unfounded because, they just didn't know any better that strep throat was that dangerous or things like that.
I don't think that this was the case. I think it was more that they could keep these kids in isolation and
they weren't
do whatever the hell they wanted to do to them without outside interference.
Because it wasn't like they were exposed to germs if they're shackled to their beds.
Exactly. So not only had they not gone to a doctor for more than 4 years, none of them have ever gone to the dentist.
So none of them have chompers, I'm sure. Well, they weren't... Well, yeah, they were eating sugar with the PB&J.
So, according to the DA, the Turpins had starved their children to the point of dramatically stunting their growth. And that the children had been beaten and strangled. Sometimes they were chained for weeks and months at a time as punishment.
What the fuck?
Proper hygiene was non-existent.
Well, the little guy said on the phone that it was like a year.
That was actually a grown 17-year-old.
Boy?
No, it was a girl.
Girl? Oh my God, sounds like a little boy.
She sounded like a child, didn't she? And I read in one article that said that they were only allowed to eat once a day and shower once a year. I mean, what is one shower a year going to do for you?
Nothing. Oof.
I need a shower, man.
I mean, I drag my kid kicking and screaming into the tub, but then it's also like hell trying to get her out of there, so.
I don't know. Lauren always loved the bath, but anyway. They even withheld sunshine from them.
Oh, so their bones are all brittle with no vitamin D.
They look like they're like refugee children. Ugh. The DA also stated the parents would also taunted their children in small ways, but it's still cruel what they did. Like they'd buy toys and desserts, but refused to let them have any.
Assholes.
Mm-hmm. Some lacked basic knowledge of the world, like what medication was for and what the police were in general.
So here they are probably like scared to death when these strangers are coming in their house.
So basically all they know is getting tied up and shackled by their own parents, and then all of a sudden these people come in and raid their house, and they have no idea what's going on.
That's so sad.
So a little background about these two, I want to say humans, but they're...
Scumbags?
Yeah. David and Louise were married in 1985. He was, I don't know for sure if he was 23 or 24, but he was around that age group. But she was only 16.
Wow.
And according to allthathistory.com, David convinced school employees in the West Virginia high school to sign Louise out of school, and the two eloped to Texas, where they were married before being caught and brought home. And I'm wondering if he ever was charged for bringing minor across state lines, because that's a felony.
Minor across straight lines, statutory rape, what else?
Honestly, what does a 23 or a 24-year-old man want with a 16-year-old?
Right.
Just, I don't understand it. I don't understand
Especially
the whole
because, like describing what the conditions of the house were, it didn't sound like she was mature enough.
They're fucked up. Let's just put it plainly.
No, that's totally fucked up.
Yeah.
And look, it's like, so we all know that I'm not a big old fan of kids. I like my kid.
They smell.
I like your kid. The kids are petri dishes. They're disgusting. They sneeze. They touch everything. They talk too much. The list goes on. But some of them are just fucking hilarious. But you don't have kids to lock them up and shackle them to your beds and shower them once a year. If you're gonna, it's like, to me, it's like getting a pet. When I take on a pet, it's as if I'm taking on a child. For the next umpteen years, I have to take care. Like, if that pet gets sick, it goes to the vet. If it needs food, I feed it. If you know what I mean. If it needs love and attention,
they're part of your family and your child. I mean, that's your. It's not a possession, but it's like your most prized possession.
I would do literally.
Like, you lay down your life for your child.
Yeah. Just going through my head just randomly, there's nothing I wouldn't do
exactly
to protect my
kid.
But
these people are the ones that brought their own children home.
And to keep having them. You know what I mean? That's what makes me angry. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not down with having kids and, like, send them to adoption or something like that, don't abuse them.
But that will be explained in, like, 2 seconds.
Okay.
So with that said, the legal age to marry in Texas and West Virginia, for that matter, is 18, unless they are at least 14 and have extenuating circumstances and have the consent of a parent or legal guardian.
So circumstances meaning like pregnancy?
Uh-huh. Can you imagine anybody saying, "Oh, you're 14 and pregnant. It's okay. Go ahead."
My nephew's going to be 13 next month. If he came home next year and said that his little girlfriend that, you know, you think they just hold hands at lunch was pregnant, I would be like, no, I don't think you know what that means.
I don't think, no. So I thought maybe they had to get married, but apparently they didn't, because their first child wasn't born until, like, 1989. So unless she had a miscarriage or something that it's not showing up in any of the news content, that wasn't the reason why they got married. So there couldn't have been any extenuating circumstances other than the fact that they wanted to get married.
And he took her out of state. It wasn't like their parents were in tow or anything like that.
No. And plus, so their parents, her father was a pastor, and he was very angry over the marriage, but both parents gave their blessing and allowed them to marry that very same year again.
Too little, too late, Pastor
Can you
Dad.
imagine saying, "Oh, Ash, you're 16, you want to get married? Oh, okay, go ahead, you're an adult." No!
I would be like, listen, I let you get a tattoo before I let you get married.
Exactly. So
Tattoos can be removed.
they actually followed what was called the Quiverful movement, as well as the Pentecostalum, which I'm guessing